the stadium down. Win more, lots more.
Folks, welcome back to the show where it is not wrestling with your conscience. It is not wrestling with your budget. It is wrestling with emotion. And we are here on Memorial Day weekend, a great wrestling weekend. We had King and Queen of the Ring yesterday. Good action, whether you like the show or not. And now we've got Double or Nothing for today. So we'll talk a little bit of yesterday's action, and then we'll get into the predictions for today. And of course, we got some of the usual suspects. Skeleton Crew. But obviously, you know, we picked the cream of the crop. Sorry, Prophet. Slick L coming in here on Saturday, and we got the head of the table, Parthy, to keep us in line. Jet, so Parthy, I'll start with you. What were your thoughts on WWE King, Queen of the Ring as an event and moving the WWE Summer forward?
Pretty solid event. I think all the matches went the way they were supposed to, or at least the way I predicted. So the one little surprise, not surprise, but notable event was the botched pin of Gunther over Randy Orton, because there's still some debate about whether that was intentional or not. My take on it is it might not have been intentional, only because the commentary didn't really seem to touch on it. I think Corey Graves alluded to it, but then sort of let it go after alluding to it. They didn't really, harp on it. They showed a replay angle that didn't show it, and they only addressed it on social media. Triple H did with a little social media video post after the fact. So it almost seems more like damage control, no pun intended, rather than, a planned storyline to protect Randy Orton, make him look safe, and give him an excuse to either have a rematch or have his own championship match. Slick, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it was definitely unintentional. The post on social media with Triple H is very telling to me. You can tell he really didn't have a total explanation. He just said, listen, these guys will meet down the line. That's their competitive nature. But other than that, I thought the event was pretty good. These Saudi shows have become kind of a spectacle in their own right, whether you like them or not. I thought we had some good matches, though, even though the results thought we might go most of the way we wanted, except Liv with the upset over Becky to start the show. I thought was great. The revenge tour with Dom and all of that, that was really something to see. Sammy Bronson and Chad Gable put on a great match. And then obviously Cody and Logan stole the show. I mean, those are two guys that always steal the show in their own right, in their own matches. And they didn't let down in the main event. So I'd say it was a pretty good show. I'd go like 6 or 7 out of 10. I think it was solid.
I want to point out the crowd was a lot more raucous than we've seen in Saudi pay-per-views in recent years. Maybe they're becoming a little more lax in who they let in. Maybe they saw France and wanted to one-up them. I don't know what, but they were getting pretty chanty over there in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, they had a lot of signs, too, that said some kind of crazy stuff. I was surprised. We go on the air with a Perk Gable sign, and it's like, what? This is Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, but you know what? They're getting all that great YouTube content that's probably talking about Perk Angle and his run in the early 2010s. So they're just getting that new content. I mean, these people will probably pay out the wazoo for a Kurt Angle match at this point. I mean, my goodness.
I mean, are you kidding me? Too bad Kurt can barely walk. But
speaking of Kurt Angle, you hear Chad Gable's getting those "you suck" chants on a regular basis now.
They're picking up that. It's pretty cool to see that as well. And the commentary, making the explicit references about same Olympian used to get this kind of treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, well, they're definitely playing into it for sure. And I think that's a great point. Speaking of leaning into, like you guys said, about the backstage segment and Parthy, I thought you made a good point with the initial announcer's reaction. When WWE wants to push a storyline, they're mentioning at least like a little glancing mention, or it's kind of they kind of hit you over the head with stuff a little bit. So I think the fact that they didn't do that right away, like you said, was very telling that it wasn't intentional. So, but again, at the same time,
shades of Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and to that point,
doesn't matter.
To that exact point, WWE tends to get their best results when things kind of go awry and they got to kind of go on the fly because they have to use the things that make the most sense for sure.
I mean, look at the WrestleMania 40 main event.
Case point proven. And speaking of point proven, anything else on WWE side?
I mean, Liv Morgan wasn't really much of an upset for me because, one, it makes sense for her storyline wise and all the things that they're hinting at with the Easter eggs with the Judgment Day. And second, of course, whatever we want to believe about whether Becky is re-signed or not, because Seth is re-signed and it would make more sense for her to re-sign as well. If her contract's still up in the air, then they probably didn't want her holding the title that long. She's just the credible superstar champion that they need to put the belt on in order for Liv to win it. And I'm not so sure. Some of our guys have said in the chat that I don't know, Slick, I don't know if you might have said this, that Liv was going to win it from Rhea all along. I think Rhea was going to hold that title for a lot longer. And I think this is just the pivot that they are doing, but they wanted Liv to win it off a credible champion like Becky and not just win it in some battle royale that they randomly threw together at the last minute.
I do agree with writings on the wall. And sorry, go ahead, Maniac.
No, I wonder if something like this, like we have a situation where, our guy Reed Ferguson, okay? Every year he has to get cut for like 24 hours and basically like wait in the parking lot while they do a roster move and then come back to the team. Now, because of that, he does get some incentives behind the scenes, the contract here or there. He gets an extra, little bone thrown his way. I wonder if Becky, who was supposed to go on vacation and kind of go do her own thing, kind of got a front-loaded bone. It was like, hey, like on the next deal, we're going to make sure you're taking care of, come do this for us for 6 weeks, run this program, hand it off to Liv, and we'll go from there. Because obviously this is a vet move, definitely a veteran kind of thing by Becky, just kind of putting over Liv and probably heading out on her way. But what I wanted to say was, Partha, you said not much of an upset. I think storyline-wise, you're right. And you did cite that. You say that it was her story or whatever. But as a wrestler and as the accomplishments in the world of wrestling, this was an upset. This was a big upset. This was like a 7-point upset.
Kayfabe world, whatever. Yeah, it's an upset.
Okay.
I mean,
I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
They did touch on commentary, though, that Liv, her first championship victory is over Ronda Rousey, and that itself isn't an upset. So after them touching on that, I mean, I guess it makes it more realistic that she can go on and beat Becky in the match. But I still do think World of Wrestling.
Well, that was a Money in the Bank.
Yeah, that was a Money in the Bank cash. They used the facts against you, Slick. They made you look silly. I just absolutely forgot about that aspect. I know they made you look silly. It's okay.
One thing I did want to say too, with you saying they threw Becky a bone maybe to do that for a few weeks, because obviously we know her husband is on this break already, his much deserved break after WrestleMania, and that world heavyweight title picture. We got some pretty big news yesterday that we're going to get Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest at what's the event in Glasgow? It is Clash?
It's Clash of the Castle again. Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean Damian Priest walking in there. I think McIntyre posted the meme himself, but it's gonna be like Cena was walking in ECW for sure.
I'm interested to see that event because I don't think I've ever seen a wrestling event from Glasgow, and McIntyre is over pretty much everywhere, even as a heel, even though he gets the boos still. I'm really excited to see what that raucous crowd is going to be.
Do you think they'll try to pull something where Damian becomes, the fighting champion and stays in it for so long that the fans in Scotland might actually start cheering him a little?
I could totally see that match at, like, obviously McIntyre wins, but I could see it being one of those situations where Priest, like, they stop the music after the match and he's just getting up and it was such a banger that the crowd has no choice but to like give him a standing ovation, even though he lost.
Well, I'm seeing a scenario where McIntyre keeps, cutting corners and cheating just a little bit more and a little bit more to the point where, and Priest keeps kicking out of all of this stuff that McIntyre's throwing at him, where the crowd starts turning on McIntyre even in his own home country because they see he's becoming a cheating slime ball and Damian Priest is this, gallant fighting champion.
It's not going to happen.
I can see them trying to do it. I don't know if
I agree.
That Glasgow crowd wants fucking blood.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Do you remember how badly cucked they got last time against the tribal chief?
Yeah,
they're not going to be taking any kind of bullshit, any kind of great performance, any kind of this is awesome.
Well, Roman Reigns was title in that event. Let's keep in mind.
Wasn't that Wales though too?
Yeah, I mean it was UK, but it was a hometown. It was a home country.
Yeah, but let's face it. If we know one thing though, it's just Europe is crazy at this point. There's no judging what can happen with a European crowd, and I think that European crowd.
Do we expect?
I think this is why he's doing this. He wants to create his own hometown advantage. He wants to give Glasgow that kind of like the thing that you can root for is me as the hometown guy. And then when he does
Yes.
show up like that, it's going to be insane. And no,
I-
there's
we
going to be
got-
blood in the water.
We got to see some bagpipes. I mean, come on.
Do we expect Punk to show up?
Huh?
Are you? He's probably under the ring right fucking now in Glasgow. Are you serious?
Could we see a Glasgow screw job?
Although I do think, it's like they work the
McIntyre
angle.
being screwed in his home country a second time for another world title, and then that being his even more motivation that he already has to go after Punk at SummerSlam.
Now,
Makes
here's the
perfect
thing.
sense
I want to
storyline.
ask you a question though, and we'll put a button on the WWE stuff. But do you see it as Punk screwed McIntyre at WrestleMania? I thought the angle they were going more with was like it was kind of like blinded, like
And
craziness by
cost
McIntyre.
himself,
Yeah,
yeah.
McIntyre goes up, and I think they're gonna do an angle again where it's similar. It's not a direct Punk like screwing him or something. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but it's not gonna be Punk like slugging McIntyre and costing them the title. I think it's gonna be something different. It's gonna be something where they can really work off of it. Truthfully,
Do they put him on commentary again?
Oh my god, if that match is getting ready to go and then like someone comes out and just says we got a special guest commentator, man, how fucking funny would that be?
Does that crowd boo CM Punk?
Yes, like
Yeah.
this isn't even a question.
No, like
I
I'm
see a mixed
genuinely
reaction
curious
at
because like
least.
I have not heard CM Punk get booed in
he'll
many
get a
places
pop.
in the
He'll get a
past.
pop initially when it hits.
Yes,
But then when he
there you go.
walks out and he's doing the smug face on the stage, he's gonna absolutely get booed. Not
He
even
may
like-
he may do the cut the music to let everybody react. He did that in Long Island, I think, when he was getting a mix to a boo reaction in AEW.
Yeah, I also believe he came out with an Islanders Tavares jersey,
Right.
so that doesn't really
That was the
help
thing
either.
too.
Unbelievable. Loves his hockey. All right. Well, hey, speaking of spitting chiclets, AEW Double or Nothing live from the MGM Grand Arena tonight. That's a pretty big deal. Big spot here for AEW. Real quick before we get into the picks, where are you guys at on AEW right now? Parthy, you're being tough on them. Every semi misstep,
listen.
I'm not gonna. I want to tell you to listen. Head of the table,
Mhm.
okay? After tonight, I'm making a pledge. I am no longer going to be pointing out all the times when people unfairly criticize AEW versus WWE. I've been doing it nonstop for the last 4 months because it's been very apparent to me, but it's also very apparent to me that it's not going to change anything. It's not going to change the way people view it. It's not going to change opinions or anything like that. So I'm just going to view the product as is. I'm not going to like sympathize or defend AEW anymore from unfair criticism. I'm just going to let the criticism fly. So with that said, Parthy, fire away.
You have to remember, and I'm keeping this as an asterisk in mind, regardless of any criticism I might have. You look at that injury list of AEWs from MJF to Britt Baker to Kenny Omega and all the way on down. They could pretty much fill their own pay-per-view with the people that they don't have there right now. So all the toys that Tony Khan likes to play with, half of them are not there for him to do his long-term booking. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. But I do think they've been leaning a little bit more towards this Bucks Elite Invasion NWO takeover angle. They're trying to make it their big thing, and I don't think it's hitting as well. Now, that being said, this is a pay-per-view night. And Tony Khan, if he does one thing good, is deliver on pay-per-views. As much as the matches may be, a little too long, as much as there may be too many matches in the pay-per-views, for the most part, they hit with maybe one or two exceptions, top to bottom as far as pay-per-views. Tony Khan, he's been called Mr. Pay-Per-View, so I think we should expect a good show tonight. Whether that translates to more people tuning into Dynamite and Collision is yet to be seen. But, I mean, it's the pay-per-view structure versus the streaming structure. Everybody, pros and cons, 5 or 6 matches for 3 hours versus 10 to 11 matches all the way to midnight. I think it's just a better pay structure because the more people get on a pay-per-view, the more they get paid. Whereas on a streaming, it doesn't really matter as much. Everybody gets pretty much paid the same. So until AEW goes on Max or whatever deal they might get with Warner Brothers Discovery or who might they be getting a deal with in the future, that's the way it's going to be. They're going to load these pay-per-views to get everybody a good payday. And the pay-per-views are going to hit more often than not. But the key is whether that translates to people tuning in on the weekly shows.
Yeah, I mean, it seems apparent to me at this point, like you're probably going to need somebody coming back from the injured list or a big signing and 4 to 6 months of consistent booking. And I think the consistent booking has been happening. The one thing I would say that AEW continuously does, the two things I would say that we got to stop doing. We got to stop having these eliminator matches with the champion in the eliminator tournament. I don't get who started that or who, if that's like a New Japan thing, but it makes no sense to me. It just seems very odd every time that the champion's in the eliminator tournament. And the other thing we got to do for AEW is, and listen, I love, because I just said it, you got to bring in a star. But I'm talking about as a full-time signing. Like, Ospreay was constantly brought in to the point where he almost felt like he was part of the roster. But AEW does this thing every so often where it's like, oh, this person's in like a main event on Dynamite or something, and you've never heard of them before on AEW TV. You just can't do that. I know that AEW does a really good job of viewing the wrestling world as a whole. It shows other promotions respect. It kind of treats everyone's accomplishments from other stuff very well to the point where they can come in and be treated with that respect. But it needs to be happening on AEW TV for a prolonged period of time before I can give that accomplishment slack.
I agree. I think there's a lot of things AEW is doing right now where they're kind of losing that momentum, like Partham said, to get people to tune in for a weekly show. There isn't, like you said, there could just be a person in the main event, and you're like, not only could you be like, who the hell is this guy? Even if you do know him, you could be like, okay, so why the hell is he in the main event? There's just not a lot of basis to some of this weekly television stuff they've been doing. But Partham hit it out of the park, where the one thing they always deliver on is pay-per-views, and Double or Nothing being one of their 4 signature pay-per-views, if you will. I mean, kind of like I believe the first pay-per-view after the original All In.
Yeah.
I believe so.
And so they always go big or go home. I mean, you're in Vegas, for God's sakes. So I have no doubt tonight's going to be a great show. I was looking at the match card before this because I honestly didn't really know what to expect. I did not watch Dynamite this past week, kind of what I was alluding to with the weekly television stuff. But this match card, top to bottom, I mean, even the triple threat FTW, that one doesn't make a lot of sense, but like, it's a banger. Every match is a banger. So I'm really excited. Double or Nothing. I hope the crowd's a lot better than last year because they sucked.
Yeah, I think the crowd is still under 7,000 when last year it was topping 10,000.
The crowd last year was just like not wrestling fans. It was.
I'm just talking about attendance, and if less people are attending than last year, and last year's crowd was a little bit flat, then.
I mean, hopefully it brings out the real fans. I believe this is.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say
MGM. Like last year, they weren't at the Garden Arena.
Yeah. First off, Arena can make a big change. And listen, as someone who has gone to an event where there was like 6,000 people or something at a Bills game and heard it be just as loud as, games where I've seen 40 to 50,000 people, if we get 7,000 diehard AEW fans in there, you'll be able to hear them for sure. And I think it'll be a solid show. 7,000 is more than enough to put on a good, exciting wrestling show. You don't need a sold out arena, even though obviously that helps. Don't get me wrong. I know, certain people view these are businesses. These are businesses. You got to get that
style count.
With that said, should we get into some predictions, gents?
Sure.
Sir.
Okay. So let's start on the pre-show. We got Thunder Rosa versus Deonna Purrazzo. I will start this off. I think, obviously this is kind of like a little bit of a feud. I'd call it a mini feud based on what's happened between last, pay-per-view and now. In my opinion, Purrazzo gets back with a win here over Thunder Rosa. So I got Purrazzo winning this one. What do you got, Slick?
Yeah, I've like seen the mini feud build, and it's been interesting. This one really is a toss-up right off the rip, and in the pre-show, I am gonna go with Thunder Rosa.
Well, I'm only vaguely aware of this mini feud, but Deonna Purrazzo is the relative newcomer, and Thunder Rosa is the veteran who would put her over. So I'm going with Purrazzo.
Actually, I'm changing my pick, Purrazzo.
Oh, Slick is such a bitch, but he did. He got it in, and he's.
I really got to stop explaining my picks because then it convinces everybody else to change their picks, doesn't it?
It's such a good explanation.
I just remember Thunder Rosa just got a little rub against Purrazzo in one segment that I remember, so I'm gonna go with Purrazzo because I don't think she got bigger moments in the feud.
Okay, we also have picks from our friend, your friend, my friend Jake Micah, and the Prophet Rob Ryan. They are both on Deanna Purrazzo, so that's a clean sweep for the 5 of us. Moving on, we have the Acclaimed, obviously, with their aforementioned daddy ass, taking on the Cage of Agony, the Gates of Agony, Toa Leona and Bishop Khan with Brian Cage. So obviously the Acclaimed have kind of become what, like the pre-show darlings here in AEW.
For the moment,
a good crew to get the crowd amped up, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that even
rap promo coming out if they usually do it?
I thought Thunder Rosa and Deanna were only pre-show.
Those 2 are on the pre-show according
okay, it makes
to
sense.
according to just the wiki here. But I'll kick this one off. The Acclaimed. I think it's not time to, if there is a time for them to lose and break up and have everything go awry, it's not right now against the Cage of Agony. So I got the Acclaimed winning.
Yeah, everybody loves the Acclaimed, especially Vegas. The Acclaimed are going over here. No need for the Cage of Agony. And like you said, this is typical AEW for the match before the pay-per-view starts. Get a fan favorite that can get the crowd riled up, and probably a trios match because they usually like to do that right before going on air for pay-per-view. So gonna go with the Acclaimed.
The Acclaimed are not as hot as they used to be, but they're more hot than Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony ever were. So yeah, give it to the crowd pleasers, the Acclaimed.
Okay, another clean sweep. And I think we'll have another clean sweep for this one coming up. We moved it up. It'll be later in the card, most likely, but this is going to be a pretty easy match to call, in my opinion. AEW Women's Championship, Timeless Toni Storm with Luther and Mariah May versus Serena Deeb. All credit to Serena Deeb, as definitely this feud has been something. It hasn't been nothing. But with that said, she has absolutely no chance of winning this match. It would make zero sense if Serena Deeb was to win. To be honest, this is what I'll say. I'll stop watching AEW if Serena Deeb wins this match. Timeless Toni Storm wins. Slick?
You may be a professor, Serena, but you are not timeless. Timeless Toni Storm going to take the match. I did want to point out, though, it was 1 year ago today that timeless Toni Storm, not timeless at the time, but timeless in general, beat Jamie Hayter for the AEW Women's World Championship with some absolute chicanery, I might add, at Double or Nothing. It's been a year. We heard the extent of Jamie's injuries. They weren't great, but I mean, as a wrestling fan, I hope she's healthy. She makes every woman on the roster look even better than they already are in their matches. So would love to see a big return right off the rip and be huge for the women's division with everything it has going right now.
It'd be huge going into All In and going to the UK for her. Yeah, Timeless Toni Storm's going to win. Do you guys feel that they're, with how popular Toni Storm's character is getting over and Serena Deeb's sort of, for lack of a better way to say it, sob story promo didn't really land with the crowd. Do you feel they're pivoting more towards Toni being a babyface, at least for this feud?
Yeah, I can see Serena Deeb pulling some shit early, like a little chicanery of her own to try and get it done. Yeah, for sure. I mean, let's face it, you're in a tough situation. Toni Storm on a much lesser scale is essentially like the man Becky Lynch in AEW right now. It's like no matter what you do with her, she could do the most heelish things. She could do the most outside the box things. It's going to get cheered. So you're in a very difficult spot with how you're booking her. And yeah, it's a challenge for sure. By the way, real quick, because we did just go through that topic real quick. I know that I've been tooting the Toni train the entire time, and I've been on the timeless design. Can you remember a champion in any wrestling promotion, anything, changing like so much, like as a character evolution over like an 18-month period into becoming champion? The only one that I can really think of, and it sounds ridiculous, is Jinder Mahal, because he went from just this normal guy to the modern day Maharaja with like these crazy bougie entrances and everything. Like that was the only one I could think of. Everyone else just kind of becomes champion and they're the champion version of themselves. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're just the prestigious champion version of themselves. Whereas Toni is like literally evolved as a character.
Could you say like Cena?
Yeah, you could say Cena back in the day for sure.
But like he was champion in the previous character, but I guess you could argue so is Toni Storm.
But I'm saying because everyone harps on the AEW booking so bad, but when you look at Tony's evolution of like where she went to now where she is now, that's some of the best women's booking in the last decade. Whether it's her character or whether it's just her little random spot decisions or the actual booking itself. Parthy, thoughts on that point?
I'm going old school with Steve Austin's heel turn and The Rock joining the Nation of Domination.
Yeah,
Although
think
he
about
wasn't a
what you're
champion at
saying.
that point, yeah.
And think about what you're saying. So we're saying, Cena, Stone Cold, and The Rock. This reminds us of what she's been able to do.
Yeah, that's pretty
fucking good. That's pretty fucking good. So I just want to point this out because again, yes, I know AEW has its shortcomings and everything, but at women's wrestling, which has been one of the biggest focus things on over the last 10 years, this is one of the best stories, and this is some of the best character work that anybody has done across the business. So I just had to point that out.
You could even throw the Undertaker into that conversation.
Fuck yes, dude.
And that's one more absolute
Going to the
Mount
Taker,
Rushmore-esque legend. So like Tony's in very good company with that.
Shout out to the Saudi Taker. And speaking of which, we are moving on here. And we got a barbed wire steel cage match for the AEW TNT Championship. This is going to be a banger. We got Adam Copeland against Malachi Black. Now, somehow, I must have missed some segment or something. But now Adam Copeland also has to bow to the House of Black and join the House of Black if he loses.
He has to acknowledge the House of Black. I think
on the Wikipedia page right now, it says,
yeah.
Again, this is what I missed. It says if Copeland loses, he must bend the knee and join the House of Black.
Yeah, I think Copeland pretty much said that in his Brood backstage promo after the whole
gotcha.
thing.
So any chance that Copeland was going to lose this match? No chance. Copeland.
Yeah.
I'll take Copeland. But Parthy, what do you got? And then let's go Slick.
Yeah, there's some people saying that it's time to put a singles title on Malachi, and I wouldn't be opposed to that. But for one thing, and there are different reports about how much longer Malachi Black's contract is up for. Some people are saying he got an extension because of his injury time away. I think some people have said that was a Fightful report, but I couldn't really see it directly from Fightful. Maybe they misinterpreted what SRS said on the live stream or something. But Malachi already pinned out Adam Copeland in the trios match in Dynasty to set up this thing in the first place. So he's really already gone over Adam Copeland in the first place. And this is my seeing Adam Copeland getting his pin back. Copeland also had his wedding ring stolen by Malachi. I remember that. And I don't see him joining the House of Black and that still just being out there and the wedding ring being in Malachi's possession this whole time until Adam turns on the House of Black and then gets it back. I think this is a very short-term way to build the tension, and Adam's going to find a way to get his wedding ring back, and it'll be a nice moment when he puts it back on and maybe shouts out Beth Phoenix, "Hey, I love you, baby," or whatever like that. Another
quick
thing
question,
yeah.
Because you did mention that Malachi Black technically already went over Adam Copeland because he pinned him in the trios match. Would you say then that the final boss technically went over Cody Rhodes since he pinned him in the WrestleMania Night 1 match?
Well, yeah, but he'll get that.
I just want. We'll see. We'll see, boy.
Of
we'll
course
see.
He will.
Boss is coming for those receipts.
But another thing to think about is I don't think that TNT title is meant for Malachi Black. I think it's meant for somebody else. But I've heard this idea. Who would you think it's meant for? I've got somebody.
Daniel fucking Garcia.
I mean, we'd like that to happen. But
Daniel Garcia is officially like the Sami Zayn of AEW. And I hate to keep making these comparisons, but now it's like, he's been a couple years and he hasn't. And I know Daniel Garcia's had titles or whatever, but he hasn't had like an AEW title.
I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of someone in a much more prominent angle here. In a stable that has a lot of gold, but one guy short of having all the gold.
Oh, Switchblade? Oh, wait, Jack Perry? Oh, okay.
Jack Perry might win the TNT title sometime this summer. So all the elite can have maybe not the World Heavyweight Championship, because I can't see Jack Perry challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship, much less winning it. But I can see him holding the TNT title because some of his peers like Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin have held that title pretty well. So I could see Adam Copeland getting involved in this whole elite NWO takeover angle and Jack Perry wanting to get that title off of Adam Copeland. So I'm going with Adam Copeland to win this match for right now.
By the way, I do like this angle. I think this is a solid angle with the elite being the bookers at AEW. I do. When you look at some of the stuff they've done so far, it gives them every excuse to be like to go against the things that Tony Khan was doing with earning title shots, etc. like that. I like it. I like the juxtaposition that it could be.
We'll get into the ins and the outs of the elite angle when we get to the match.
Okay, perfect. I like it. Okay, but we got another clean sweep for Copeland, right?
Yep. You guys pretty much took everything I had to say. So it would be cool to see a title on Malachi singles wise, but I think then you like take everything away from the House of Black just by putting a title on Malachi. You got to showcase Buddy and Brody, which they do a pretty good job of, I think. But when you guys are going over some of the lead up to this, I'm like, damn, how much do we miss on Collision? Like,
there's a lot happening on Collision. And bottom line, it's tough because everyone's doing stuff on Saturdays, especially 8 to 10 on a Saturday.
Exactly.
But when I tune in, for example, a couple weeks ago, and I'm seeing Swerve versus, Claudio for the title, I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
It was a classic match. So yeah, they're definitely trying to make Collision happen for better or worse. For certain. And speaking of for better or worse, AEW International title, Roderick Strong, next Strong, with Matt Taven and Mike Bennett versus Will Ospreay. So I mean, plain and simple, the only way Ospreay doesn't win this is hijinks of the highest order, because clearly he can wrestle the world around Roderick Strong. With that said, is it possible? Did the devil pull another trick and he's going to come out right now and be fine and take out Will Ospreay? That is what I'm calling. Adam Cole comes out and costs Will Ospreay the title. It's the only angle, and it's the only thing that makes sense without like just immediately putting a title on Ospreay and kind of crowning him the world and everything. You can give him a little bit of some adversity here, bruv. And Adam Cole costs him the title. I got Roderick Strong.
Wow.
I won't say the same thing, but I was also going to go with hijinks, and I'm also taking Roderick Strong. As great of an opportunity as you have as this is to put a title on Ospreay right away, let alone the international title, and you can have him go overseas and defend it everywhere. You just got to put him right into that world title picture, man, as soon as you can. So, and I think this is the perfect opportunity for the Undisputed Kingdom, whatever they're called, to get some real heel heat. Ospreay, like you said, not much adversity since he's come into AEW. He's wrestled the best of the best.
He's been he's basically got signed and he was in 4 main events for Dynamite. Like, it was insane.
And hasn't lost a single one of them, I think. So,
yep.
I'm gonna go.
I just think it's almost like Ronda Rousey status in the WWE. I won't keep doing this, but just you have to give him adversity at some point.
Sometimes you just see the mirror reflections, and you have to point them out.
Seriously, Parthy, what do you got? So it's just like you're locking in Strong then.
Yes, next Strong, baby.
I was going to bring up the possibility of Adam Copeland getting involved in this match, but
You mean Cole.
Adam Cole, Copeland, all the Adams.
Adam!
Oh, Cole versus Cope is somewhere in the future for sure.
And Roderick will be
Roderick's going to be the special guest referee.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, look. Yeah, Adam Cole could get involved. There could be chicanery. There could be shenanigans and all that stuff. But Will Ospreay's the new toy. He's like, out of the 3 main signings, he's been, I think, the most successful, the most, the best at his matches. He's been getting the most acclaim, I would say. He just went over Bryan Danielson, for crying out loud, and they're going to have him by hook or crook job to Roderick Strong. I mean, sure, people are penciling in Ospreay versus Swerve for the title at All In, but maybe not. Maybe they want to make the international title something, and maybe they want to put it on Ospreay and take it over to the UK and have some matches over there. Like Slick was saying, I was thinking that too. I mean, I think there could be something where Wardlow tries to get involved and he fails to help Roderick retain it. And that just makes Adam Cole even more upset at Wardlow. What are you doing? You're supposed to be keeping us, all the titles safe on the Undisputed Kingdom. I don't see, even by chicanery and skullduggery and whatever, I don't see Will Ospreay losing to Roderick Strong just after he beat Bryan Danielson. I think they're going to put this title on Ospreay. So I'm going with Will Ospreay.
Fair enough. I'd love to know what the rest of our panel has in this.
They both have Osprey, so I'll give you one more second to hop off my my
No,
next
I'm
strong
good,
train.
bro. I'm good.
Okay, I like it. I feel confident. I think that if they don't give Osprey any adversity now, then yeah, you might as well just pencil him in for All In versus Swerve Strickland for certain. This next one, nothing on the line, just pure friendship, pure emotion. Trent Beretta versus Orange Cassidy. Parthy, why don't you kick this one off? I've been taking the lead on a bunch.
I mean, this is kind of 50-50 for me because they could go either way with this. But at the end of the day, Orange Cassidy won that first match, which was kind of a no DQ, no rules match. The same match where he no-sold the pile driver on the steel steps, and then that thing under the ring apron where they Beretta sort of catapulted him, seesawed him into the underneath the ring apron, and of course he no-sold it and just ow, my neck, it's so bad, I got to go to the back now. Whereas in the old days, you pile drive someone on the steel steps, they get taken out on a gurney.
Oh, they were dead. It is crazy how everything's evolved. Like in 20 years ago, when you put someone through a table, they were there for 20 minutes. Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy. Go on.
But at the end of the day, Orange Cassidy won the first match, and I think Trent, they're trying to get him over as a heel. And also you have the Don Callis factor to think about. And I don't think Don Callis is going to be recruiting Orange Cassidy into the Don Callis family. All the overtures that he's been making, I think, might be a red herring, not a red herring, but might be a falsehood. I think maybe whether Trent joins the Don Callis family, I think Don Callis is going to get involved, and I think Trent's going over Orange.
Wow. So one thing we have never seen Orange Cassidy do is use complete heel antics to win his match. That's exactly what's going to happen here. Wow. And Orange Cassidy is going to join the Don Callis family. Lock it in.
That would be a little bit crazy. I don't know if I could predict the Don Callis family, but I am predicting Orange Cassidy winning. Wait, and Parthy, you're on Beretta?
Yep.
Wow, Parthy on an island with that pick as Rob Bryan and Mike are all on Orange Cassidy. So we'll see if the head of the table can hold up his title there. But we are halfway through the show predictions. Folks, if you're halfway through your Memorial Day weekend, make sure you're going and spending it at the #1 spot to be anytime, the region's premier entertainment destination, Batavia Down.
Batavia Down is more, lots more.
And coming back, we got the trios titles on the line via the Bang Bang Gang, Jay White, and the Guns versus Death Triangle, Pac, Ray Phoenix, Penta, El Zero, Miedo with Alex Abrahantes. I'll kick it off. A common theme for this card, it's a good match. I just don't see, and I know Death Triangle was the OG trios champions, right?
Well, second one, they stripped the...
Yes. Like, you view them as the OG because the OGs never wore them or defended them on a show. Yes. So I'm going to go with Bang Bang Gang just on the fact of tenure, similar to the Acclaimed. It just doesn't make sense to have them lose in this spot to me. It isn't clear cut, but I'm going to go with the Bang Bang Gang, Jay White and the Guns. Slick, what do you got?
I'm going with the Bang Bang Gang as well. I kind of agree with you. This isn't too... doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I think they're trying their best while keeping this trio together to build Jay White to the moon and eventually do give him another main event title picture down the line and where he probably wins. Maybe not anytime like crazy soon. I think this trio, you still have a lot to do with them potentially, but yeah, they have no reason to lose this match. So Bang Bang Gang, give Jay White all the good spots. The Guns will look good out of it as well. And Guns will be up at the end of the night.
I've got a theory on this, but I want your guys' thoughts. How did they evolve from Bullet Club Gold to now just exclusively the Bang Bang Gang? Are they Bullet Club Gold anymore?
I have no idea.
Yeah, they're definitely Bullet Club Gold for sure. But I think that's like, like Juice Robinson, right?
Yeah.
Like, like there's different variations. You got the Elite and then you got the Bullet Club. Like it's almost like that. I think that for sure.
I think the trio itself is exclusively the Bang Bang Gang, but they're
God.
But they're not announcing them as representing Bullet Club Gold. Like
AEW has made some terrible decisions, but how stupid would you have to be to ditch Bullet Club Gold entirely?
There
for
might be
Bang
some New
Bang
Japan
Gang?
Pro Wrestling, trademark infringement. But I mean, why
It's
would that be a
gimmick
problem when they were partnering with them for Forbidden Door? What is it? Malachi Black and one of the other guys at the House of Black are Kings of the Black Throne when they team up as a tag team, something like that, I think. But anyway, whether you call them Bullet Club Gold, Bang Bang Gang, they're going to go over here. Death Triangle just got back together. They're going to give them a great trios match, but it's still the Bang Bang Gang's titles to lose, and they're going to keep them.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Maybe, might turn out that Penta El Zero Miedo has a lot of learning to do. And that gets us to our next match, the FCW Championship, the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho with Big Bill. By the way, a lot of people don't realize Big Bill could main event a WrestleMania versus Hook and Katsuyori Shibata. Will Shibata have the translator out there ringside? I don't know. We'll see. But
You mean
Chris
his
Jericho,
iPhone?
yeah, his iPhone. Will he have his iPhone out ringside? Jericho versus Hook versus Shibata. To me, this is essentially Jericho versus Hook. I just can't see Shibata coming out of this match holding the FTW Championship. But with that said, I would like our head of the table to start it up. What do you got, Parthy, on this match? FTW Championship, Jericho, Hook, Shibata.
Shibata's in this match to get pinned by Jericho.
Wow.
Plain simple.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm also going with Jericho. I know people are not going to like what I'm about to say, but I'm ready to embrace the learning tree.
You are such a fucking mark. Jericho's getting go away. He's X-Pac is looking down at him saying, what is their problem with you, bro?
Have you guys been seeing the Instagram work that Big Bill and Chris Jericho have been doing under the tutelage of the learning tree?
I don't follow them on Instagram.
It's some of the best stuff I've ever seen. It's incredible. Jericho and Big Bill are both just leaning into the fact that everybody hates them, but they're still trying to be a teacher thinking everybody loves them. I don't know, man. It's just fucking hilarious to me. And Jericho does the character so well. Love him or hate him, like all these characters he's done over the years, he does phenomenally. And the learning tree is one of them. And I think I'm ready to become a student of the learning tree. I'm going Jericho to retain the FTW title.
Yeah, I am going to go
the For the World title.
I am going to go Jericho as well. In this spot, yeah, it's just tough to pick against them. Bottom line, in this spot, again, what are you going to put the title back on Hook? That booking really doesn't make much sense to me. So I'm going to go with what makes sense to me. I'm going to go with Jericho taking it down. Parthy, you're on Hook.
I'm on Jericho.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. So we got Jericho sweep. We got Jericho sweep there. And then we got 4 matches left. This next one, this should be a banger. I mean, you want to talk about match of the night potential. It's out the wazoo with this one. Jon Moxley versus Konosuke, as MJF would say, Takeshita, with Don Callis. This should easily be a 20 to 25 minute classic. Moxley's gonna bleed, almost a guarantee. And ultimately, I think that Moxley gets the win here. Don Callis, who's been getting a lot of momentum, and truthfully, Takeshita has a ton of momentum behind him with all his wins over Omega, all his wins in all the big spots. So I think Moxley gets this one to kind of remind people who he is and kind of reignite him on the AEW roster, if that makes sense. So I'm going with Moxley. Slick, who you got?
I think I am actually going to go with Takeshita here because they're putting a eliminator match on a pay-per-view. This happens to be the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and Konosuke Takeshita is one of the best Japanese wrestlers probably in the world. And this title is going back to New Japan at some point. And if you have Konosuke Takeshita go over Jon Moxley here, I know what we give the eliminator matches shit all the time, but that earns him a shot at the title. And you can run that at NJPW Dominion June 9th in Osaka, Japan. I think that'd be a great main event for the fans out there. So I'm going to go with Konosuke Takeshita.
They've already advertised Jon Moxley versus a guy named Evil for the next New Japan event for the title, right? So putting the eliminator on this match is really a way to remind everybody that that's still going to happen. I really don't. The common sentiment that I've been hearing, and I agree with, is why make it an eliminator match and put it on a pay-per-view? Why put an eliminator match on a pay-per-view if Takesha's not going over? Then what's the point of it? The other thing is that, yes, the Don Callis factor is out there. And I don't know if you saw Collision the other night, but Takesha kind of put Moxley's arm in a chair and stomped on it. So that gives Moxley the out to keep his credibility if he were to lose this match, either because he's hurt or Don Callis pulls some chicanery as per usual. But yeah, I think I've been going back and forth on this, but I think the eliminator aspect of it means Takesha is probably going to win.
Okay, interesting. We are kind of split. Wait, Slick, who'd you go with?
Takeshita.
Okay, so you got Takeshita for Parthy, Micah, and Slick, and then you got myself and Rob Ryan on Moxley. And then let's see, we got. I'll side with the Prophet against you boys any day of the week. This one, I mean, you want to talk about build, you want to talk about storyline. I mean, this is across multiple companies, this is across multiple years. You got Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Moné. So this is Mercedes' first match in AEW. Do you think that, before we get into predictions, do you think we're going to see anything rivaling like a vastly different move set or any like just any kind of evolution of the wrestling ability from what we've seen, or are we going to see more of the classics from Mercedes tonight?
She'll definitely have the classics in there, and then she's probably going to have, because I haven't really seen any of her New Japan matches, but I'm sure that she's going to throw some things that she wasn't allowed to do in WWE in there. So this is the redemption time for Mercedes Moné as far as just having nothing but promos that have hit or miss in the last couple of months since her debut in AEW. This is where she's supposed to, shine in the ring. This is supposed to be her forte. So, and I think Mercedes is absolutely going over. You're not going to pay her that much money to come in with this much hype and not put a title on her, as much as it makes Willow a transitional champion, like we were discussing in our last AEW preview show. But hey, Willow gets to say she was a champion at one point, but Mercedes has got to go over.
Yeah, I mean, this seems pretty simple to me. As much as Willow is doing a great job as champion, homegrown face from AEW, everyone loves her. Like Bartham said, you bring in Mercedes Moné with all this money behind her, one of the best women wrestlers in the world. And I mean, it just writes itself. Mercedes had to lose that NJPW strong women's title to Willow because she got injured mid-match. What do you do here? Bring Mercedes in, not like she was going to lose, even if that didn't happen in the past in her first match on pay-per-view in AEW, but you have her win this one, and then you get a trilogy down the line, another match between these two, which Mercedes can probably also win and hang on to the title and then go on to more and bigger, better storylines. Not saying this one isn't big or great, because it's been going for quite a while. I think there's been some unfair criticism towards this storyline. It's been great. It's been across two promotions. So really excited for this match. I know a lot of people have been anticipating this, and show me the Moné.
Yes. I think you guys made the perfect point, so I won't talk too long, but if you were looking at like blank resume, it's almost like Willow Nightingale should win this and get like kind of like a come up victory over Mercedes and kind of knock her down a notch. But the CEO has just been shot to the moon. I was dreaming about the CEO chant last night. You know what I mean? It's just, it's iconic. So with that said, Mercedes is going to get this TBS title. She's going to get this
You're
bag.
leaning more heel for Mercedes at this point?
Oh, for sure. Especially because I think it's a guaranteed way. Like she can, like, oh my God, you tell me a little heel tactic beat Willow Nightingale, and then tomorrow on her promo on Dynamite, like all you people who didn't want to acknowledge the CEO or whatever, acknowledge probably a bad word to use given, Roman Reigns and everything, well, now you have no choice but to work for the boss. That will be heat. That will be absolutely, let's just say so. And all wrestlers say it's way easier to make material get over as a heel. So Mercedes had this great run from, boss at the Garden or whatever. But Mercedes is going to be the champion. And hopefully we'll get prime like NXT Sasha Banks, like Mercedes Moné in as the TBS champion for sure. But speaking of madness and craziness, you know what? I'm going to make an audible. AEW World Championship. Swerve Strickland versus Christian Cage with Killswitch, Nick Wayne, Mother Wayne. This is a great first championship defense for Swerve Strickland. Let me just say, and I think the booking has been
on pay-per-view.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. On pay-per-view. First major opponent, like with build up, etc. Obviously, for sure. You're throwing all the odds at him. You're throwing everything you can at him. You're having his own side turn on him and everything. I think it's great booking. I know there was maybe a little bit lack of a reasoning here and there for what would happen, but at the end of the day, this is wrestling. You don't really need much of an explanation. It's kind of like porn. With that said, Swerve Strickland, at the end of the day, whether it's a 18-minute match or a 30-minute match, is going to find a way to defeat Christian Cage, to defeat the patriarchy, and retain his AEW World Championship. Swerve Strickland taking this one down, boys.
Yeah, tonight I'm going to be doing the Prince Nana. We're going to see a couple of these. Maybe even Darby out there. Who knows? There's a lot of Seattle boys that are going to be in this ring. And Seattle gal too, I might add. But I don't know if they go 30 minutes here just because like Christian's old and they got Anarchy in the arena. I really don't like. We don't know because there's a couple different match cards that have the two of these switched. I wouldn't be surprised if they had either spot in the main event. I'm kind of leaning towards the latter, but this is going to be a great match nonetheless. I still think that we probably get close to 20 minutes, between 15 and 20 for this, and Swerve's going to show out. He always does. And what a great dance partner than Hall of Fame talent Christian Cage. Probably one of the best heels in AEW. It's good to see him back. I was hyped when I saw the countdown when they announced Swerve's first pay-per-view challenger, as I think we all were. Big
when we were watching this live, we all agreed this was the perfect opponent. I think so far the build has been not perfect, but pretty damn good.
Agreed. Yeah, it makes Swerve look huge at the end of a signature AEW pay-per-view, his first one with the title around his waist going into it. So, yeah, I'm going to go Swerve Strickland.
Yeah, I mean, I've been critical of the way they've been booking Swerve in the last few weeks. 3 weeks in a row, he basically got left laying by either the patriarchy or his old friends, the Gates of Agony and Brian Cage. But they did a little bit of a make right this past week on Dynamite. He getting one over and Christian Cage chasing him out. Prince Nana with the block and the run in basically in a nice little way to get him back into the scene. I think Swerve's going to go over Christian Cage. Christian didn't really focus on the daddy issues aspect of Swerve Strickland's life. He talked about Swerve's daughter maybe, but maybe not so much about Swerve's own father if he had his own father troubles early in life. I would have liked to have seen that before the end of this feud. But either way, it's a good, solid, credible opponent for Swerve to go over on his first pay-per-view title defense. Swerve's going to win.
I agree. Big mischance for Christian. And I say this with all due respect to Swerve Strickland. I don't know the exact situation with his bad. I know that he had the post, literally, which was ironic, that he was watching him wrestle in NXT Buffalo for like the first time in 2018. Remember that post that I shared in the chat or whatever? But anyways, a big mischance by Christian to be like, your dad's not dead. He's just a deadbeat or something like that. Exactly. Definitely a mischance there. But we'll see. So there, I'm sure there's definitely a reason that Christian didn't use his number one shtick in this for sure. So I'm sure we'll find it out later.
He might come out cutting a promo tonight.
Maybe he'll cut the promo first thing. That would be something. Okay. But that'll likely be your main event, but this is the one we've saved for last. We got Anarchy in the arena. I think that without a doubt, this will be the most entertaining match. And if you think otherwise, you just simply haven't seen the Elite in these big matches. Okada, Jack Perry, and the Young Bucks versus Team AEW, Danielson, Darby Allin, and FTR. Parthy, take us through the booking, take us through the angles, and take us through who you got winning Anarchy in the arena.
Well, first and foremost, it's going to be chaos. The shit's going to hit the fan, as I'm sure the announcer's going to say right before the match. We saw Darby Allin come out with a freaking flamethrower the other night. That is going to come into play in this match before it's all over. I don't know if anything or anybody's getting lit on fire. I don't know that Tony Khan's that crazy unless he douses someone with some flame retardant like gel or whatever, like Cody had when he went through the table with Andrade like a couple of years ago, I guess. But yeah, they're going to try and pull out all the stops. And Darby's probably going to end up half killing himself by the end of this match. I don't think Darby is going to come out on the other side cleared to wrestle. He's barely cleared to wrestle as it is. But yeah, they're going to continue the Elite's dominance, however it's getting over with the crowd or the audience at home. They're just going to – I see Hangman Adam Page getting involved in this at the end. I'm not going to solidly predict it, but I have a sneaky feeling that they're going to bring Hangman Adam Page back to get the numbers game in their favor. And because they might have kicked Kenny Omega out of the Elite, but they never kicked Hangman out of the Elite. They just gave him, a reluctant suspension, as it were. And with most of these guys, having old grudges against, a certain former AEW superstar, it would make perfect sense to just put them all in the same group, and Okada too. But the Elite's going to go over in this match. It's going to be a lot of garbage fun, as they say, I guess.
Could we see Hangman return and then help the Elite?
That's what I'm thinking. He'll help the
Elite. Yeah. I got you. I just clarifying. Okay. Yeah. So and you got the Elite ultimately winning?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Just want to clarify. Slick, what do you got?
Yeah, I'd love to see Hangman come back, but I got the Elite winning too. Maniac, you said it perfectly. If you don't think this match is going to be good, you just simply have not seen anything like this before. AEW delivers on all of these Stadium Stampede, Anarchy in the Arena. It doesn't matter what it is. They always have new spots ready to go and take full advantage of all the resources that are given in this arena. If you have never seen one of these, I highly recommend you should tune in tonight. It's going to be something special, as they would say. And yeah, Partham, you said it. Darby might die. Might not even make it to Mount Everest. I know he hasn't yet, and he might not in the future. This is going to be crazy. I could be wrong, but his first time kind of being involved in one of these matches, being the crazy bastard he is, that kind of surprises me. But yeah, the Elite have all the firepower. I know Team AEW has some great wrestlers, but with the way the Elite are rolling right now and the way they've been treating their roles in the company and this storyline, bringing Okada in, Jack Perry, there's no way they should lose this match. And skullduggery to the finest extent, given anything is allowed. And I would love to see Hangman Page back. That would be a great way to end the night and a great way to end one of AEW's signature pay-per-views. You might even see, who knows, what's Kenny Omega doing?
Recovering from diverticulitis surgery.
Yeah, he's in a damn hospital bed, Slick. Jeez.
I didn't know if he had surgery already.
He got it done, yeah.
We got our picks in. Let's see. Let me pull this up.
One thing about Hangman is because the Elite basically recruited Christian Cage to go up against Swerve Strickland and are, fully behind him, messing with Swerve in the lead up to the pay-per-view. Who do you think they'd want next to have challenge Swerve Strickland for his title? Somebody who, more than anything, didn't want to see Swerve win the title?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's why I'm saying you're crazy for thinking that Hangman Page is just going to hang out and show up at Anarchy in the Arena and not have something to do with Swerve. Guy's a fucking madman. Yeah, he made himself get choked out instead of letting Swerve have a chance to win.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a crazy son of a gun.
But folks, don't get choked out. Make sure you're always following us at Wrestling with Emotion. That is our Double or Nothing prediction show. Make sure to go have a good rest of your Memorial Day weekend. We'll see you tonight on the picks. We'll keep you updated there. But for most importantly, just remember, this is not the show where it's wrestling with your budget. It's not the show where it's wrestling with your conscience. This is Wrestling with Emotion. Scissor me, Slick, and make sure to go have a good night